Hi, my name is Denise Ward, and I'm the PR Director at Sky Mavis. Today, I'll be presenting our crisis communication strategy in response to the Ronin network breach, an event that tested our infrastructure, our values, and our commitment to our community. Before we explore the crisis, let's cover a quick company overview. Sky Mavis is a technology-focused game studio that developed Axis Infinity, a blockchain-based play-to-earn game. It was created to introduce the world to an exciting new technology. Axis has onboarded millions of people to blockchain. Our mission is to create freedom for gamers through blockchain-based economies. Our values guided our response and recovery. This presentation is structured into 4 parts: defining the crisis, outlining our PR technologies, detailing our crisis communication plan, and reflecting on the ethical and media implications. Our goal is not just to respond, but to lead with transparency and accountability. Let's talk about what happened. In March of 2022, Sky Mavis developed a blockchain-based game, Axis Infinity. Unfortunately, hackers were able to breach its Ronin network and steal over $600 million. This was a multi-dimensional crisis: technological, financial, reputational, and ethical. The attack exploited validator node vulnerabilities and was later linked to North Korea's Lazarus Group. So why does this event qualify as a crisis? Well, the scale of the financial loss, the geopolitical implications, and the erosion of user trust classify this event as a multidimensional crisis. The breach affected millions of users, garnered global media attention, and prompted government sanctions. On this slide, we will explore the media narratives. Mainstream media framed the breach as a failure of decentralized finance and a cautionary tale for blockchain gaming altogether, while social media sentiment was mixed. Some blamed Sky Mavis for negligence, while others praised our transparency in response. The narrative positioned us as both a victim and a responsible actor. The PR responses are quite interesting. The U.S. Treasury framed the breach as a national security threat, using terms like terrorist financing and nuclear weapons, while privacy advocates warned against overregulation. The public was divided. Some wanted accountability, while others defended the risk of innovation. Nonetheless, our messaging had to navigate these conflicting narratives. On this side, we will explore the ethical representation. Sky Mavis was initially blamed but later recognized for transparency. Our communications had to humanize our team and support our users. Developers were criticized, hackers were demonized, and users were portrayed as victims. Here you see a representation of our transparency and language use. We published detailed blog posts explaining the breach and our recovery plan. Our tone was empathetic and accountable. We used accessible language to maintain trust and avoid alienating non-technical audiences. Here is a sample prep briefing. The CEO would deliver a clear and empathetic statement. He would acknowledge the brief, explain what happened, and reaffirm the commitment to transparency and user protection. On the next 2 slides, we will explore an example of our press release. Our press release follows a journalistic format. It includes a headline and quote from our CEO, and it outlines our actions and reimbursement and security upgrades. It also points out our collaboration with law enforcement. A section of the press release outlines the goal of the release, our keyword focuses, and our distribution channels. It also has additional notes just for media. The next section of our media toolkit is our social media strategy. We use Twitter, X, Discord, LinkedIn, and YouTube to communicate in real time. Our tone was transparent and proactive. Hashtags like Access Recovery and Web3 Security help unify the conversation. As you can see on this slide, our media outreach plan targets journalists and outlets based on their credibility, reach, and relevance in the blockchain, cybersecurity, and financial technology communities. These platforms will help us reach both crypto native and mainstream audiences. The Wire Service Plan is an integral part of our media toolkit. We recommend using PR Newswire and BusinessWire for global distribution. Our newsroom assets support journalists and will reassure users by making information accessible and consistent. This slide details an extensive list of assets available to the media. Having a detailed measurement plan is very important. To evaluate the success of our crisis communication strategy, we applied the Barcelona principles, which emphasize outcome-based measurement, transparency, and alignment with organizational goals. We established 5 key performance indicators as shown on the slide. Each KPI has a clear goal and measurement matrix. To measure success, we begin with an initial baseline by capturing pre-crisis data to establish benchmarks. We then conducted post-campaign analysis as outlined on the slide. This approach ensures we're not just tracking communication outputs, but real outcomes like trust, behavior change, and long-term reputation recovery. The purpose of Sky Mavis's crisis communication strategy is to rebuild trust, clarify our mission, and prevent long-term reputational damage. Every communication decision is aligned with these goals and our core values. Sky Mavis aims to not only recover from this crisis, but emerge stronger, more transparent, and more trusted than ever. In the pre-crisis phase, we identify warning signs and implement preventive measures as outlined on the slide. These actions help build stakeholder confidence and reduce vulnerability before a breach occurs. Let's take our time covering crisis response. Our crisis response follows a 3-phase model: immediate response, ongoing media engagement, and long-term trust building. Each phase is designed to protect stakeholders, restore credibility, and reinforce our mission. These efforts position Sky Mavis not just as a survivor of the crisis, but as a leader in Web3 security and accountability. This slide details our post-crisis strategy, which focuses on long-term reputation repair. We shift from response to recovery. It is not a one-time announcement, it's a sustained commitment to transparency, accountability, and community rebuilding. Reputation repair means showing, not just telling, that we've learned, evolved, and are committed to building a more secure and resilient future for our users. As we close out the post-crisis phase, our communication strategy continues to reflect Combs' 5 types of crisis messaging. Each one is central to rebuilding trust and demonstrating leadership. The government framed the breach as a national security threat, using terms like North Korea, nuclear weapons, and terrorist financing to justify sanctions and elevate urgency. This shifted the narrative from a technical failure to a geopolitical crisis, increasing pressure on blockchain platforms and challenging Sky Mavis to respond with accountability and clarity. In exploring media and reputation, we will focus on the Darknet Diaries podcast. It shaped public perception by humanizing Sky Mavis developers and exposing broader blockchain flaws. Its investigative yet empathetic tone, credible voice, and immersive podcast format helped shape the narrative from blame to understanding, especially among tech-savvy audiences. Let's move on to ethical PR debate. The breach raised ethical questions about developer liability. While developers were expected to anticipate misuse and build safeguards, open source tools remain neutral and often beyond their control, highlighting the complexity of responsibility and decentralized systems. For PR professionals, the challenge is even greater. Working in legally gray areas like DeFi requires prioritizing transparency, simplifying complexity, and serving the public interest. Our role is to guide clients towards honest communication, accountability, and long-term trust. In summary, Sky Mavis faced a complex, multi-dimensional crisis. Our strategy focused on transparency, accountability, and long-term trust. We didn't just respond, we evolved. Thank you for your time.